Today I will take a clear look at what happens to your body, brain, and health when you're alone. We'll analyze it minute by minute, day by day, week by week. If you like this video, don't forget to leave a thumbs up, comment, and watch until the end. That's the only way to let the algorithm know it's worth recommending. We'll also explore whether online communication can effectively substitute for in-person contact, and importantly, how this plays out for neuroatypical, highly sensitive individuals who often seek solitude. 1. The first minutes of loneliness. Imagine you and a close friend are at a party with a larger group. Everything is going great, you're having fun, and then the host ends the event, thanks everyone, and invites a select few to stay for an after party. Your friend is invited, you're not. That's when your paths split. This is a classic situation when loneliness begins, and with a bitter sting of rejection. They picked your friend, not you. So, what happens to the person left out? To you, in this case. Loneliness triggers a stress response. Within minutes, your body releases cortisol, the stress hormone, and adrenaline levels spike. Resentment over the rejection intensifies the effect. Anxiety and tension set in. The brain responds as if you're in danger. From an evolutionary view, being alone once meant facing threats without support, so your sympathetic nervous system kicks in. Heart rate and blood pressure rise, muscles tense. Research shows that social pain activates the brain similarly to physical pain, which explains the discomfort and distraction. In cases of deep rejection, the emotional impact can be intense, even tearful. You may become hypervigilant, reading too much into judgments, emojis in chats, or someone's glance. You're on edge. Loneliness has physical effects. Studies show that even brief isolation activates dopamine neurons that drive us to seek social contact. That's why people often text someone or strike up a conversation with a taxi driver after such experiences. Now let's see what happens to your friend who stayed for the after party. They experience the opposite. Social contact brings pleasure, conversation, laughter, touch. This releases dopamine, reward and motivation, and oxytocin, bonding and trust. Anxiety drops, social defenses lower. Even a brief touch or hug releases oxytocin, calming the body, lowering blood pressure and cortisol. Emotional comfort and a sense of safety follow. Holding a partner's hand can quiet anxiety centers in the brain. These positive feelings reinforce bonds and activate the reward center, what we call warmth. Before going deeper into prolonged isolation, let's address a common argument. I don't like people. They tire me. I don't feel this way at parties. We have to address neuroatypical people. Their experiences vary, but a common thing is that most of them deal with overstimulation. It's their main problem when exposed to other people. Social interactions are intense stimuli that can overload their nervous system, leading to faster exhaustion and crises. And let me tell you, those crises can be really tough for them. So they seek solitude to regulate themselves, not because they're antisocial. For them, alone time restores peace and balance. Voluntary solitude doesn't cause harm when it's deliberately chosen, and they know they can reconnect when ready. We must distinguish restorative solitude from emotional, forced loneliness. Chosen solitude can reduce stress and restore balance. But here's the catch. Restorative solitude can slide into chronic avoidance. When sensitivity coexists with disorders like depression, solitude can become anxiety-driven isolation. This creates a dangerous spiral. Emotional regulation becomes harder. There's no one to co-regulate with. The nervous system adapts to low dopamine and high cortisol as the new normal. The body might endure, but cortisol quietly causes damage. Social skills fade. You become unaccustomed to people, intensifying anxiety. The healthiest model: withdraw to recharge, return to avoid isolation. 2. From several hours to 2 days. Even at a party or with a spouse, you can feel lonely. Conversely, a deep online chat can feel incredibly connected. Loneliness is subjective and nuanced. If loneliness lasts for hours or into the next day, relaxation becomes difficult. Focus may wane. A negative mindset builds. Neutral events, your weight, skin condition, messy room, may trigger irritation. Negative thoughts spiral. No one cares. It's my fault. Even my genes suck. Without someone to vent to, emotions pile up. This is called emotional containerization. You may seek distractions, movies, games, anything engaging. Reflexively check your phone, hoping for interaction. If nothing satisfying comes, you spiral further. The reward system dims. No social input equals no dopamine, motivation, and mood drop. The brain struggles to feel pleasure, becoming numb to positive stimuli. You may react aggressively to outside contact or misinterpret neutral events. 3. Up to 7 days. After a week of loneliness, anhedonia appears. Things that once gave joy no longer do. It's a very dangerous state of mind. Worry intensifies. Elevated cortisol affects sleep. Falling and staying asleep become harder. Sleep becomes fragmented. You wake often, feel unrested. A tension-filled day follows. High alert persists. Distraction rises. Physical and mental efficiency drop. The lonely brain gets worse at detecting positivity. Meanwhile, someone who spends that week socially connected experiences stronger emotional well-being, better sleep and focus, protection from the sense of threat and depressive inertia, a lifeline, messaging someone. Even early in rejection, many instinctively reach out. This can be effective if it's quality contact. Can you minimize loneliness effects by engaging with others online? Definitely yes, but you have to hold on to those rules. Synchronous chat, video, voice, live messaging, deep emotional conversations, even via text, if they're mutual and sincere. Online communities with belonging, forums, group chats, gaming communities. Sometimes engagement in live streaming is called connected solitude, physically alone, emotionally connected. But online contact hurts when it's passive, doom scrolling, silent consumption. No feedback equals more social hunger. It's rage baiting, trying to make you mad and fuels your anger. It fuels FOMO, or toxic comparison, e.g. Instagram envy. So, active, supportive online contact is good. Passive, compulsive use can be very harmful. 4th weeks and months. Extended loneliness becomes entrenched. Small interactions can't break through. A bitter exterior may mask deep emotional pain. It's like a protective shell of negativity that blocks any positive signal. Symptoms worsen. Depression deepens. Generalized anxiety grows. Constant worry about the future, health, finances. Past trauma resurfaces without a support system. The psychological trap. I feel rejected, so I avoid people. Now it's even harder for them to reach me. This reinforces beliefs like I must be worthless and erodes trust. Without close bonds, uncertainty about self and others grows. Neurotypical or not, without someone to share feelings with, emotions spiral. Social isolation during the pandemic showed a spike in anxiety and mental health issues. The brain changes. Memory worsens from chronic stress. Cognitive function drops, focus, learning, impulse control. Prefrontal cortex loses plasticity. Amygdala, fear center, becomes overactive. The reward system shuts down. Motivation fades. Dementia risk rises. Accelerated aging, especially in the elderly, becomes apparent. Ever notice how elderly professors stay sharp by continuing to lecture even in their 90s? That's the power of social engagement. The body suffers too. Immune system weakens. More infections, slower healing. Vaccination response drops. Anti-cancer cell activity declines. Inflammation increases. High blood pressure triggers headaches, tension, digestion issues. Circadian rhythm fails, causing chronic fatigue. Substance use and poor lifestyle choices rise. Can you escape this spiral? It's hard, but not hopeless. A few days in a new supportive environment can turn the tide. Every negative brain and body effect of chronic loneliness has an opposite in positive socialization. Loneliness is reversible. Social skills can be relearned. Bonds are like psychological vitamins, essential to well-being. If you recognize yourself in any of this, reach out for help. Your health depends on it. Loneliness isn't just sad, it's destructive, but it can be healed. Connection isn't optional, it's vital.